Good evening, I'm Kim Reynolds, the governor of the great state of Iowa. Like you, I just watched the president's speech. I have heard as governor of our state, as an 11-year-old mother and grandmother, who is concerned that our country is going astray. We are now 1 year into his presidency, and instead of taking America forward, it seems that President Biden and his party have sent us back on time, in the late 70s and early 80s. While fugitive inflation was hitting families, a wave of violent crime was raging in our cities and the Soviet army was trying to redraw the world map. Even before taking the oath of office, the president told us that he wanted to honor America around the world and unite us here at home. He failed in both cases. The withdrawal of the catastrophic Afghanistan has done more harm than good to the lives of Americans. It has betrayed our allies and encouraged our enemies. North Korea is once again testing missiles at an alarming rate. The House Speaker recently warned our Olympic athletes not to speak out against China, and now Russia has launched a full-scale military strike on Ukraine without provocation, an attack on democracy, freedom, and the rule of law. Now all Americans must show solidarity with the brave people of Ukraine because they have bravely defended their country against Putin's tyranny, since they are fighting for their freedom. But we should not ignore what happened in the run-up to Putin's invasion. Limiting domestic oil production while rejecting sanctions on Russian pipelines, focusing on political correctness rather than military preparation, responding to world events instead of driving them. Weaknesses have value on the world stage. And the president's approach to foreign policy has consistently been too low, too late. It's time for America to project confidence again. It's time to be decisive. It's time for leadership. But we cannot project energy abroad if we are weak at home. And that's what I want to discuss with you tonight. The President of Congress and the Democrats have ignored or worsened the problems facing Americans last year. They were warned that spending trillions would increase inflation. They were told that their anti-energy policy would push gas prices to new heights. But anyway, they have pushed up the price of pumps by 50%, pushing inflation to a 40-year high.
4 decades ago, when our country was finally hit by inflation, I, a young working mother, had just started.
My husband Kevin worked the day when I saw our daughters. Then we want the switch. By the time he got home we were walking through the yard and I was going to work at the local grocery store in the evening. From the checkout counter, I saw the pain of inflation in the faces of my neighbors. I have seen what happens if prices rise faster than wages. The Biden administration believes that inflation is a high-class problem. I can tell you this is everyone's problem. I have seen mom and dad pay less and less to buy them. I've seen people at work figure out which items to take home and which to keep in the register. And now the whole new generation is feeling the same pain over President Biden's decision. When I took the oath of office 5 years ago, I promised Evans that I would never lose who I am working for. I will not be detached from the problems they have faced, from the problems I have faced myself. But you don't have to check the grocery store to see what high inflation does for people. You only need C. You have to keep your feet out of the bubble. Talk to Americans about what they have in mind. Ask them, what are your concerns? What keeps you awake at night? They will tell you, and I can tell you what is not on the list. They will not tell you that spending trillions and bankrupting their children is the answer to their problems. They will not tell you that our people should be paid for not working. And they certainly won't tell you that we should pay billions upon billions of taxes to billionaires and billionaires in Democrat-controlled states like California, New York, and New Jersey. But the Biden administration has been pushing for it since last year. This is all part of the Build Back battery. Fortunately, the president's agenda did not pass, as even members of his own party said enough. Well, the American people share that opinion. Enough is enough. And it's not just with DC costs. Americans are tired of a political class trying to rebuild this country into a place where some elites tell everyone else what they can and cannot say. What they can believe and what they can't. The way to end racism is to pretend to classify everyone according to their race. They are tired of politicians telling their parents to sit down, keep quiet and let the government control their children's education and future. Honestly, they're tired of the theater, where politicians do one thing when the camera is spinning and another when they believe you can't see them. Where governors and mayors apply mandates but do not follow them. Where elected leaders tell their citizens to stay indoors while they hide in Florida to sunbathe and have fun. Where they demand your child to wear a mask, but they go out without a mask. You heard the excuse. They were just holding their breath. But it is the American people who are waiting to breathe. Waiting for the insanity to stop. We now live in a country where violent crime is out of control, liberal prosecutors are releasing criminals easily, and many prominent Democrats still want to protect the police. I think everything is backwards. The Biden administration needs the vaccine for Americans who want to go to work or protect this country, but not for immigrants who cross the border illegally. The judiciary treats parents like domestic terrorists, but looters and shopkeepers roam free. The American people are left to think they are the enemy. This is not the same country as a year ago. The president tried to paint a different picture tonight, but it did not match his activities for the last 12 months. This is not what he promised when he took office. But it doesn't have to be this way. There is an option. Across the country, Republican governors and lawmakers are showing Americans what conservative leadership looks like. What does it mean to respect the people we serve? To listen to them, stand for them, and walk alongside them. We know we need bold action for our problems, but we also know that bold action does not mean government action. It is the Americans who make their own family and their own decisions for the future. Republican governors were exposed to the same COVID-19 virus. But we respect your freedom and immediately see that lockdowns and school closures have brought their own significant costs, that mandate was not the answer. And we've actually heard of science, especially with masked kids and kids at school. What has happened to our children in the last 2 years and is still happening is insensitive. Loss of learning. Isolate anxiety. Depression. In many states, our children have been left behind and many will never be caught. That's why Iowa was the first state in the country to open schools. I am attacked by the left, I have attacked the media. But it was not a difficult choice. It was just the choice. And keeping schools open is just the beginning of the parent-child, pro-family revolution that Republicans are leading in Iowa and the states in this country. Republicans believe that parents are important. This was true before the epidemic, and it was no more important to say it out loud, the matter of parents. They have the right to know and say what their children are being taught. The family also has the right to live in a safe and secure community. And it starts with a safe and secure country. But the Biden administration has refused to secure our borders. They have refused to provide resources to stop human trafficking. To stop the wonderful flow of deadly drugs coming around us. They have refused to protect you. Leading the way in Texas and Arizona, I, along with Republican governors from various states, sent resources to the border. And we've actually gone to the border, something we haven't been able to do since our president and vice president took office. In economics, the contrast cannot be more intense. While Democrats are spending trillions on D.C., raising inflation, Republican leaders across the country are balancing budgets and cutting taxes. Because we know that money spent on Main Street is better than money spent on bureaucracy. Today, I signed into law a law that excludes ivory tax on retirement income and sets our tax rate at 3.9%. That's less than half of what it was 4 years ago. And it should come as no surprise that 17 of the top 20 states with the lowest unemployment rates have Republican governors. Republicans may not have a White House. But we are doing what we can to fill the leadership gap. Republicans are leading the way in influencing Americans. We stand for parents and children, we stand for life. We protect our communities and thank those who wear uniforms. We are fighting to restore America's energy independence, including biofuels. We're bringing people back to work, not paying them to stay home. Above all, we respect your freedom. Behind me stands the Iowa Capitol, where we display our state motto, we reward our freedom and we uphold our rights. These are not just empty words. It is a belief that the generosity of this state, the greatness of this country lies in our people, not the government. You don't have to wake up every morning thinking about the government, the next thing for you, your business or your children. If we do our job as elected leaders, then the government is doing well but working in the background. It is supporting the cunning and spirit of our people, not drowning them. It keeps them safe, not restricts their freedom. That's what I believe. That's what Republicans believe. And that's what Republicans are doing. I am blessed to be governor of Iowa, where people are humble, hardworking, and patriotic. We take care of each other. And yes, we are, as they say, Iowa nice. But you don't have to come from Iowa to say that this is America's best values, all of America. Over the last few years, I have placed my trust in the Iowans, and they have not disappointed me. I encourage this president to do the same. To establish his faith in you, the American people, who have never wavered in your faith in this country, are leading regardless of who they are. Because you know, You show the American spirit is not about who lives in the White House. Men and women like you, in every corner of this nation, who are willing to take action and take responsibility, for your community, for your neighbors, and ultimately for you. At least by that most important measure, the state of our union is really strong. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States.